So the trade deadline has come and gone, and like usual, we have some winners and we have some losers. One of the winners this season was actually the St. Louis Blues, picking up 2 first-round picks, but this video isn't about the St. Louis Blues, but instead the Colorado Avalanche, because they went out there and picked up a handful of players. One of those players being Nazem Kadri. He is back on the Colorado Avalanche. 87 overall Nazem Kadri's rejoined the team, and the last time he was with this franchise, they were able to win a Stanley Cup, so they're looking to replicate that today. So I'm going to be taking over as the GM for the Colorado Avalanche for the next 5 years. And what exactly am I going to be doing in year number 1? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, the trade deadline's come and gone. We're just going to rock the team they have right now. And truthfully, this might be one of those videos where I do very little. Because Colorado, they basically have their core locked down for the next handful of years. I'm not really going to have to do too much. I'm just going to be rebuilding their bottom 6. So who knows, this might actually be longer than a 5-year rebuild. We'll just see how things are going. If I win like 5 straight Stanley Cups, obviously we're going to have to keep on going. But yeah, let's go ahead and simulate year number 1 and just see what happens. Now, I don't think it's any surprise that the Colorado Avalanche are going to walk away as the best team in the entire league. In year number 1, we're winning the President's Trophy, a 53-23-6 record. But there was one very surprising thing. Nathan MacKinnon not being a point a game. He had 81 points and led this team. That doesn't make any sense. Nazem Kadri was a stud for us on the second line though. 35 goals, 38 assists for 73 points. What was Nick Waugh up to? Stick on the ice legend Nick Waugh, 16 goals, 22 helpers for 38 points. Hopefully this man's trade value goes up a ton, and then maybe we can capitalize on that next season. When it comes to goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood, 45 wins, 6 shots, a 912 and a 274. Obviously we have very clear expectations heading into the postseason. It's Stanley Cup or bust. Somehow we're taking on the St. Louis Blues in the first round. That doesn't even make any sense. You're telling me this team without Braden Shen and Justin Falk made the playoffs? Dalibor Dvorsky and Robert Thomas must have went crazy. So here we go. We have Colorado and St. Louis in the first round. The last time these two teams matched up, St. Louis put a lot of pressure on the Colorado Avalanche. However, I don't think that's going to happen this time. Colorado's already won the first 2 games. Can we make that the first 3 games? It looks like it. Can we sweep St. Louis to start off this video? It doesn't look like it. They're looking to make a late push here. They won game number 4. Now they want to win game 5, but it's not going to be that simple. They're falling in 5 games. So we're moving on to the second round, and now we're going to have the Utah Mammoth. Utah's going to be a pretty solid team here. They picked up Mackenzie Weegar, so we definitely can't sleep on them. However, I'm not sure if they're ready for our offense. With that being said, we've dropped back-to-back games now. I thought it was going to be 3 in a row, but we are down 3-1, so we have quite the hill to climb here. We got to lock in moving forward. I was thinking this video was going to be fairly easy for us. Like, we have an amazing team in the Colorado Avalanche. We shouldn't have to do too much, but we are about to lose in the second round. Ain't no way you boys are going out like that. Did we make the late comeback in this one? It looks like it. Devon Taves with 20 seconds left, but can we win this game in overtime when it matters? It looks like it. Arturi Lekkonen's picking up the OT winner. We're not down and out yet. Utah, you had your chance to eliminate us, and you messed up big time. Honestly, I think we have to win the Stanley Cup now. Like, we just made one of the biggest comebacks of all time. Now we have to close it out. We have to win game 6, and then we have to win game 7. We're exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Marty Necas has given us the lead. Can we close it out in the third and move on to game number 7? It looks like it. Devon Taves, we will never forget your goal with 20 seconds left. That was really a game changer for us. But truthfully, it doesn't mean anything unless we win game 7 right here. We need to win game 7 so we can move on to the conference finals. Colorado, it's time for you guys to lock in. Once again, we're exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. Colorado, lock in. Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Nichushkin, Nazem Kadri. Somebody needs to score the big time goal, and it looks like no one's doing that. Cale Makar would pick up a power play goal, but Dylan Guenther scored in the last one, and because of that, we're going to be falling in game 7. We made an improbable comeback, but in game 7, we're going to be collapsing. So after falling to the Utah Mammoth, they're going to go on a run, winning the Stanley Cup, taking down the Tampa Bay Lightning in a 7-game series. So if we only could have won game number 7, we would have had a completely different result. I was trying to look at the player stats, but I accidentally hit circle, so I ended up going back. But that's neither here nor there. Gabe Landeskog was the big time performer for us, 12 points in 12 games. Meanwhile, Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals and 6 assists for 8 points in 12 games is not good enough. You folded big time for me. You're supposed to be this team's superstar, and you did not show up for us in the slightest. So MacKinnon, I need you to be better moving forward. Mackenzie Blackwood, I can't complain about these numbers. You stepped up when you had to. Now, there's really not going to be too much for us to focus on during the offseason. We basically own 0 picks. We have 0 cap space whatsoever. We're basically going to be doing absolutely nothing over the offseason, except for one thing. And what's that one thing going to be? Well, of course, you subscribing to the channel. Why haven't you subscribed yet? 55% of the people watching this video right now aren't even subscribed. Are you a part of that 55%? Because if you you are, that's not cool. Not cool whatsoever. So how about you subscribe to the channel right now so you can see more videos like this. Now, just for a little bit of context, the 116th overall pick is the first pick that we have. So yeah, clearly we are not going to be doing too much. Joe again is going to be brought to the team. Low top 6 potential. That is likely the best player we're walking away with. Is this Albert Smits? Why does he only have medium top 60 potential? Okay then, that makes sense, I guess. Now here's the list of all the UFAs leaving the team. Luckily, we do have $9 million in cap space because that's how much the cap went up. Brett Burns, I'm not going to be bringing you back to the team. I would like to bring back one of these two guys. I feel like Blankenberg is going to be the cheapest, so I think we're going to go with him. And for 1.7 million, that's an absolute steal. Jack Drury, I feel like we can bring you back for the bottom 6. How much do you want? You want 1.7 million? I'll do 1.7 for 2 seasons. So hopefully he's going to be accepting that contract. And then with everyone else, I'm kind of hoping we can do 2-way contracts. I mean, Ivan, I can give you 1.1 million for 2 seasons. Also, Kivi Ronta, I'll bring you back to the team for $1 million. That seems very reasonable. Now, we're going to be riding out a handful of contracts heading into this upcoming season because obviously we need to bring Cale Makar back to the team. This is very reasonable. This is not what I was expecting from you. Okay, Cale Makar is coming back and it's going to be a very reasonable contract. For some reason, I was thinking like 17 million. I can do 12.7 for the next 8 years. That is very good. Arturi Lehkonen, maybe we can bring you back to the team now. You want $6 million? You can come back. So Arturi Lehkonen's going to be coming back to the team. We'll do $5 million for the next 3 years. I'll up this to 50% trade protection. And there you go. Arturi Lehkonen, welcome back. When it comes to Nick Wall, Ross Colton, and basically everyone else, they can walk. And then Scott Wedgwood, you can walk as well. Now we have $7 million remaining heading into this upcoming season. And based on what I'm seeing available in free agency, I think we're going to have to make a trade here. Now, what exactly are we going to trade away? I have no clue because we don't have assets, but we will pick up a decent enough left defenseman. So here's the loan trade we're making. A 2nd, 4th, and 5th rounder sent over to New Jersey. Brendan Dillon, I'm going to bring you in, and you're going to play some second pairing minutes for me this season. I'll throw in a 7th rounder as well. This should be more than enough, and it looks like it is. So with that trade complete, we're now ready for next season. That's literally all we had to do over the offseason. So just like that, we're already into season number 2. Like really not too much has to be done with this Colorado Avalanche team. I am working with what they have right now. This is clearly the team they want to go with moving forward because they've signed all of these guys to long-term deals. So that's what we're going to be working with. It's basically the exact same team as last season. Brendan Dillon's going to be joining. He's going to be helping on the second pairing. When it comes to goaltending, that's the exact same. This is the Colorado Avalanche team of today. Nothing's really different. Also, similar to last season, we're going right to the end of the season because we don't have cap space and we don't have assets. There's nothing for us to do. Like, we really can't make any big trades until probably 2028, maybe even 2029. Now, the Colorado Avalanche were pretty solid this season. However, they weren't quite good enough to win the President's Trophy because Dallas is going to be taking that home over us. We're finishing 2nd in the entire league with a 51, 26, and 5 record. 3.51 goals per game is pretty solid. 2.91 allowed really isn't that bad of a defense, so the team's looking pretty solid right now. Cale Makar is going to lead the way with 105 points, followed by Nathan McKinnon's 98, and then Marty Natchez is 94. So we had 3-point-a-game guys. Nazem Kadri, 35 goals this season and 76 points. He's definitely living up to the hype. Meanwhile, when it comes to goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood's still looking like a star. However, the goals against could be better, but I'm not going to worry too much. We have the Winnipeg Jets in the first round. We're looking to bounce back from last season's disappointment. I need this team to lock in. Like Colorado, I need you to smarten up here. We can't be losing in the second round. This team is built to win Stanley Cups, and that is what we're going to do today. We're going to win some Stanley Cups. I feel like we're going to drop game number 1 after all of this yapping, but instead we're going to shut them out in game 1, but we're allowing 5 goals in game number 2, so that's definitely not the greatest in the world. Moving into game 3, this is a must win for us, and it looks like we're winning that one in overtime. Can we take a 3-1 series lead? It doesn't look like it, so it's a best of 3 moving forward. Game number 5 is the most important game. We need to steal this one away from Winnipeg, and we're doing that in a shutout. 2 shutouts so far in the postseason. Can we make it 3 shutouts in game number 6? It doesn't look like it, but we are scoring 9 goals. So we're moving on to the second round, and we don't have the Dallas Stars, but instead the Chicago Blackhawks. I definitely wasn't expecting Chicago here, but if they took down Dallas, we can't sleep on this team, but maybe we can because we're taking down a sweep and we're moving on to the conference finals. Chicago, I have no clue how you beat the Dallas Stars, but it looks like you did. We're moving into the conference finals, and now we have the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid and and Leon Draisaitl are up next. You know they're going to put a lot of pressure on us. After dropping game number 1, we're winning 3 straight after that. We're going to try to make this 4 straight victories, but it's not going to be that simple. Whatever you do, don't lose 3 games in a row. We're winning game number 6, and we're in the Stanley Cup final. There is only one team in front of us, and that is going to be the Florida Panthers. Take down Florida, and we can be Stanley Cup champions. We almost got swept. We lost 3 straight games, but luckily we didn't lose game 4. Now it's time for us to win game 5. We're going to win 4 games in a row, and we are going to be Stanley Cup champions. Devon Toews and Gabriel Landeskog are picking up goals in the first. Moving into the second, we're exchanging goals. Whatever you do, don't lose the third period, and luckily we're not losing the third period. Kulikov would pick up a late goal, but it's not going to be enough. 2 more wins away. We are 2 wins away right now from winning a Stanley Cup, but we need to beat Florida again, and then we'll have to beat them for a 4th time in game number 7. But let's focus on game 6. Can we beat them in this game right here? Well, we're about to find out. We're taking a 2-1 lead after the first period. Moving into the second, this is all Colorado. We're not losing this game. We have game 7. At one point, we were down 3-0 in the series. Not anymore. We've made the comeback against the Florida Panthers. Now we're going to close out in game number 7. We didn't make it to game 7 to lose game 7. We didn't win 3 straight games in order to lose game 7. We're going to close it out right here, right now. After picking up the first 2 goals of the game, we allowed 3 unanswered. Definitely not the most ideal thing in the world, but we'll bounce back in the second period, and that's exactly what we're doing. Nathan MacKinnon's taken over. We have ourselves a tie game. Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final. At one point, we were down 3-0 in the series, but now we're here and we're about to win this series. We actually did win. I can't believe it. We really made a 3-0 series comeback to win the Stanley Cup. The Colorado Avalanche back on top once again. Ain't no way this actually happened. I was fully expecting to gas this team up in game number 7 and then allow like 7 unanswered goals and lose 11-0. But nope, it looks like we're coming out on top as Stanley Cup champions. Colorado in year number 2 as a cup, but clearly we're not done yet. The Avs rebuild was clearly successful. The only thing I had to do was trade for Brendan Dillon. That is all I did. Everything outside of that was done by Chris McFarland. He is the one that built this team right here, and he is the one that built this Stanley Cup winning team. I brought in one player, but clearly my one addition must have meant something because it was the missing piece for this Avs team. Stanley Cup champions in 2027, but we're not done yet. This is the beginning of our dynasty. Now, even though we won the Stanley Cup, clearly our job is not done. We have to make some moves in the draft, and these are our 3 draft picks. Here's their names. You don't need to know their potential. All right, I feel like I'm missing something because we have $17 million in cap space. Are we supposed to have $17 million in cap space? Like, I know the salary cap went up, but that seems a little bit ridiculous. Brendan Dillon, I wouldn't be against bringing you back to the team, especially to play on the third pairing, and I can do that for maybe $3 million for 1 season. That's not an awful contract. Ross Colton, maybe we can bring you back to the team, but it has to be the right price, and 1.4 million is not bad, but how about I do 1.5 for the next 2 seasons? Nick Waugh, I think there's a pretty good shot you leave the team, but for 3.6 million, I feel like we can do something. What if I gave you a modified no trade? We did 50% protection, and then we get this down to like 2.9 million. I think 2.9 would actually be a very fair offer for you. I'm not really too sure if you're going to be accepting that. What if I did 75% team protection? Would you accept 2.9 million? You're an 84 overall. I can't imagine you're going to say yes to that. No, we just fleeced there. Now, I think those are basically all the main pieces we need to bring back to the team. Kivi Ronta, I can give you $1 million for 1 more season. I don't even recall if you play in the lineup or not. And then with everyone else, it's going to be 2-way contracts. And yeah, we're going to be in a great spot. Also, Scott Wedgwood will bring you back, and I'll even give you a bit of extra money. Here's 1.2 million. You can definitely be our backup even though you're 34. Now, moving into the offseason, there's really not that much money we have to spend when it comes to extensions. Brock Nelson's going to be one of the bigger ones, but truthfully, I think we could probably hold off with him, and then during next offseason, we could probably re-sign him for a lot less. Gavin Brindley, you're certainly one guy who's earned a contract on the bottom 6, so I'll do 2 years at 1.5 million. I think that's very fair for you. And honestly, outside of that, I don't think we're going to spend any money here, or at least when it comes to extensions. When it comes to free agency, on the other hand, we have some money to work with. 12.8 million to be exact. Who wants to join the team? Who makes a lot of sense to join our team for 1 season? Anders Lee would not be a bad pickup. I see the vision there, but I also see the vision with Patrick Kane. I don't really know who I want to bring in here. It does have to make sense for the franchise. Like, I don't want to spend way too much money here. Leo Carlson, I don't really want to go with you. Luosterainen's not bad, and I can do that for 1 season. Here is 3.1 for 1 season. Luosterainen, welcome to the team. And then Anders Lee for $5 million, we can make this work. I'll actually give you 5.1 million just because because I'm a nice guy. So Anders Lee, welcome to the team. Let's go for the repeat. So Colorado, last season you were able to walk away as Stanley Cup champions. So what do you think you're expected to do heading into this season right here? Win another Stanley Cup. Cale Makar and Devon Toews are still here. When it comes to goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood's still our number one. The forward core still looks amazing. There's no weaknesses for Colorado. They know what they have to do. The Colorado's going to keep the momentum going heading into year number 3. We're going to be walking away as the President's Trophy winners once again. Cale Makar 103 points, Nathan MacKinnon 99 points, Martin Necas a bit of a step back from last season. He wasn't quite a point a game, but our team is still looking pretty solid. Nazem Kadri though, he is slowly starting to age out on us. 28 goals and 32 helpers for 60 points. He's dropped to an 85 overall. He's not the player that we've seen in the past. However, we're still winning, and that's all that matters. Mackenzie Blackwood's putting up good numbers. We're moving into the postseason looking to repeat. We have the Minnesota Wild in the first round. Colorado, you know exactly what you have to do. Now, I know it would be ideal here, completing a 4-peat. I think that would be amazing. 4 Stanley Cups in a 5-year rebuild. Truthfully, I still haven't decided on how long this rebuild is going to be. I'm kind of thinking 5 years, but you know what? We might go longer than that. We might make this a 10-year rebuild. With the way that we're rolling right now, we might want to make this a 10-year rebuild because we might be looking at 7 Stanley Cups in 10 years. However, we still have to get past Minnesota, and that's what we're going to be doing in game number 5. Like, maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself here because things can go bad very, very quick. We're taking on the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round. We could have taken on Dallas, but they're going to be falling to Chicago once again. However, I think Chicago is a little bit better this time around, so we should watch out for them because they're scoring 7 goals in game number 3. Luckily, we are going to be responding in game 4. We need to win game number 5, and we're dropping that one 6-3. I think I was gassing this Colorado team up a little bit too much. We're now facing elimination here in game number 6, but you know what? Colorado can always make the comeback, and that's what we're doing in the first period. Moving into the second, though, we're going to be completely collapsing. It's still a tie game, so we could win this one, but we need to win the third period, and we're not doing that. But luckily, Chicago's not winning the third either, so overtime's going to settle this one. Who's going to pick up the OT winner? Gavin Brindley stepping up for us big time. We have game 7. Just when you thought this team was down and out, they're stepping up big time, and we're moving on to game 7 against the Chicago Blackhawks. So Colorado, I need you guys to lock in. Don't head to overtime once again. Let's finish this one in 3 periods. Let's dominate the first, dominate the second, and then lock down the third period. We need good defense for 20 minutes. Can we get that? It looks like it. We're taking down the Chicago Blackhawks, and we're moving on to the conference finals. These Avs are not playing around right now. They know what it takes to win a Stanley Cup because they've won it before, and they're looking to repeat. We have the Vegas Golden Knights up next. We have to find a way to take them down, but we are not doing that. Nah, what was the point in game past the Chicago Blackhawks? What was the point in winning these 2 games right here if you're going to do this in the conference finals? Nah, y'all are a disgrace. And to make it even worse, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. We know we can beat Florida because we've done it in the past. If we could have gotten past Vegas, we would have won the Stanley Cup because we know how to beat Florida. When it comes to our individual numbers, in reality, they're not that good. Nazem Kadri, yeah, you're a point a game, and Nathan MacKinnon, you're 1 point shy of a point a game, but these numbers are not good because of what happened in the conference finals. Mackenzie Blackwood, your numbers probably would look really good if you didn't play in the conference finals. That skewed your numbers quite a bit. Like, what exactly did we do in the conference finals? I just want to double check that. So in the 4 games we played in the conference finals, 6 goals, 5 goals, 8 goals, 5 goals. So we allowed 24 goals over the course of 4 games. Now, exactly how many goals did we score? 9. We allowed 24 and we scored 9. No wonder we got swept. But yeah, if we don't allow 24 goals in the conference finals, our plus minus numbers, and truthfully the numbers across our entire team, probably look significantly better. Now, it might have taken till our 3rd draft, but we finally drafted a notable player. We got ourselves a medium league potential gem in the 4th round. Unfortunately, though, he is already 20 years old as a goalie, so he's going to have to develop incredibly quick. And when I say quick, I mean he needs to be a 75 overall within 2 seasons. Now, for a team that started with absolutely no cap space, we have a lot of cap space right now. Brock Nelson, I can bring you back for 1 season. I think you're going to end up playing 3rd line minutes, though. What if I give you no movement? Like, let's save a lot of money here. Brock Nelson, you can return to the team. I'll do $5.5 million for 1 season. You're going to play 3rd line center minutes for me. And then with all the cap space we have, I think we're going to try to get another star. Jack Drury, I'm assuming you're going to be looking for too much money now, but 2.5 for an 84 overall is an absolute steal. We probably could have saved more money there, but I don't want to get greedy. That is a very good contract, so we got to appreciate Jack for signing that contract. Luosterainen, I'll do 2.5 for 1 season. Brendan Dillon, you're going to be leaving. Blankenberg, you're going to be leaving. Ivan, you can maybe join the team. For $1 million, I think this is actually a pretty solid deal. Anders Lee, you're going to be leaving. Josh Manson, Kivi Ranta, all you guys are going to be leaving. And then with everyone else, it's two-way contracts or you leave. Now, when it comes to contract extensions, honestly, I don't think we have to worry about too much here. A lot of these guys are likely going to be walking after this season, or we're going to be bringing them back on very cheap contracts. Like Gabriel Landeskog, we're definitely going to be saving money with you because I'm not giving you more than $6 million next season. But this contract right here, I can do 2.5 for 2 seasons. I don't care if you're regressing. That is actually a very good deal. Nazem Kadri, hopefully we can do something similar, but you want 6.4. I'm not really willing to do that. So let's go ahead and move into free agency and figure out what exactly is available. Roman Josi for 1 season is interesting, but Brady Tkachuk is also very interesting. I think we should go with Brady Tkachuk. All right, so here's the contract that I'm going to offer over to Brady Tkachuk. $13.8 million for the next 6 seasons. Hopefully he accepts immediately, but he's not going to be doing that. So we're going to have to simulate a couple days. Here. If we don't walk away with Brady Tkachuk, we're likely going to have to make a trade. Gabriel Landeskog's accepting his deal. When it comes to Brady Tkachuk, he's going to Vegas. No, we're missing out on a huge player. So if we're not going to be walking away with Brady Tkachuk, we might as well try to pick somebody else up. Frank Vatrano, here's $4 million for 1 season. You can probably play some bottom 6 minutes or something. Chris Kreider, I can bring you in to play some bottom 6 minutes. Here's $2 million. Jordan Eberle, I think we can do the exact same thing with you. And then with our remaining money, we need to bring in left defenseman. And we're going to need a solid left defenseman here. Roman Josi, I don't think you're going to be the guy for us. But Josh Morrissey, it is interesting. So I'm going to offer Josh Morrissey 12.4 for the next 3 seasons. Actually, I'm just going to make that 12 million for the next 3 seasons. And hopefully he's going to be willing to accept that. It's going to make our defense very expensive, but Josh Morrissey would be a huge pickup for us. All right, so apparently we're just missing out on every free agent. Josh Morrissey, please sign with the team. Josh Morrissey is going to be rejecting. Okay, Jordan Eberle's at least joining. So yeah, we didn't miss out on everyone. Clearly though, we do have to make a trade here because I don't really know what's going on. Nobody wants to join Colorado apparently. All right, so here's the big splash I'm thinking about. A first rounder, Gavin Brindley in 2 seconds sent over to the Islanders. Adam Pelech and Tolvanen are both going to be brought in. Tolvanen's going to play on the top line with Nathan MacKinnon. Meanwhile, Adam Pelech, you can be a good second pairing defenseman for me. And then I guess to finish off the offseason, we will sign one player, and that player is going to be Josh Manson. They can rejoin for $1.8 million. I just need you to play some third pairing right defensive minutes for me. Also, Adam Pelech, I didn't really plan on bringing you back to the team, but you know what? This is actually a very reasonable contract extension. We're going to get this down to around $5.3 million for the next 3 seasons. That's not terrible. Yes, you are starting to regress a little bit, but we'll make it work. Probably shouldn't have given you that no movement, but you know what? Way she goes. Dog, there is just no way everyone says no. Does nobody want to join this Avs team? We are very good. We won a Stanley Cup 2 seasons ago. We are currently one of the best teams in the entire league, but nobody wants to join this franchise. Zach Bogosian, I'm about to bring you to the team because we don't have any other option. You know what? We're bringing in Luke Schenn, $800K for 2 seasons. There's no way you reject us. Now, when it comes to this Avalanche rebuild, I really haven't done too much so far. I've made a handful of trades, made a couple signs in free agency, but a majority of the core is still here for the Avs. And until that changes, we're just going to keep on simulating. We're not going to make any trades. We're going to rock with what we have. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, we're not really broken. We won a Stanley Cup 2 years ago, made it all the way to the conference finals last season. If we start losing in the first round, then we'll have to make some adjustments. But until then, let's just keep on doing our thing. Now, Colorado had an incredible season. I believe this is actually the best season we've had yet. However, it wasn't good enough for the President's Trophy because Chicago's winning 4 more games than us, and they're also losing 2 more games in overtime. So if we have to match up against this team at some point in the playoffs, we could be in a bit of trouble. But you know what? They don't have Nathan MacKinnon. They don't have Cale Makar. They don't have Nazem Kadri picking up 37 goals and 74 points. They're not ready for us. Also, Tolvanen, what'd you do this season? I did not see your name. You had 55 points. Not gonna lie, you were a bit of a disappointment here, but you know what? You played your role on the top line, so what can I really complain about? When it comes to Mackenzie Blackwood's numbers, he had some really good numbers. Scott Wedgwood was an amazing backup goaltender as a 79 overall, but nothing we did during the regular season matters anymore because we're in the playoffs and we have Minnesota in the first round. Now, I don't care if you guys go 82-0 during the regular season. You could win every game, but it doesn't matter if you don't win 16 games in the playoffs because those 16 victories get you the Stanley Cup, so I need this team to lock in. Why are we down 2-1 in the series? That shouldn't be happening. Why are we down 3-1 in the series? That doesn't even make any sense. We won 56 games this season, and we might end up losing in the first round, but I'm not going to allow that to happen. We are going to lock in. We're going to win game number 6, and then we're moving into game 7. This team does not mess around. We scored 7 goals in order to make it to game 7. You know what that means. We're scoring 8 goals in this one in order to make it to the second round. I know that logic doesn't make any sense, but just go with it. We had ourselves a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, we're going to be exchanging goals. Maybe we have to score 2 goals in order to make it to the second round. That makes a lot more sense. Except we're just going to end up scoring 4 goals. That works as well. So we made the huge 3-1 series comeback, but now we have the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round. I can only imagine it's going to be Chicago in the second round, and it looks like it is. Now, if we can get past Chicago here, I think we can win a Stanley Cup. This is definitely going to be the toughest task of this postseason run. We're dropping game number 1. Hopefully we didn't drop game number 2. It doesn't look like it, but we did drop game 3. We need to win game number 4, and it looks like we're down 3-1 once again. All right, it's time to start another comeback. We've been able to make these types of comebacks before. We've even made a 3-0 series comeback, but we haven't done it against a team like the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are just built different right now. We're exchanging goals in the second period, so we're only down by 1. We could make a late comeback in this one, but I don't think that's going to be happening. We're allowing 6 goals in this one, 3 in the third period. We just weren't good enough to make the comeback. Not too long ago, I was talking about how this team could repeat, then they could three-peat, then they could four-peat. Since then, we've lost in the conference finals, and we've lost in the second round. This team's not having nearly as much success as I thought they would. Now, after losing to Chicago, I fully expected us to lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. However, that's not the case, because it looks like the Vegas Golden Knights are taking home the Stanley Cup, taking down the Florida Panthers, a team who has now made to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, but they've only been able to win 1 of them. We took 1 away from the Florida Panthers, and then Vegas took 1 away from them. But at the end of the day, who cares if Florida's losing in the Stanley Cup final? We need to start winning in the Stanley Cup final, and we need to get back to the Stanley Cup final. Mackenzie Blackwood, you put up great numbers. The offense just wasn't there for you. Now, I know that we've already drafted 1 mediumly potential goaltender in this video, but how about we draft another one? Because I don't believe this goaltender is starting at 20 years old. He's only starting at 18 years old, so his potential is definitely a lot higher than the last goaltender we drafted. Now, unless I missed somebody, I don't believe anyone retired on us, so we have $30 million in cap space. Who do we want to spend that on? Nick Waugh, this is one of the greatest contracts I've ever seen. $3.6 million, and you're an 86 overall. So we are 1000% bringing you back to the team, but I'm giving you a full no movement. So we're going to try to do 2.9 for the next 2 seasons. You are an 86 overall, and we're going to sign you for 2.9 million. I don't think there's a better deal than that. Nazem Kadri, you want 6.8 million. You're 1 overall lower, and you want 6.8 million. That doesn't make any sense. Brock Nelson, you're looking for 3.9 million. I'll do 3.5 for 1 season, then you can return to play some third line minutes for me. Ross Colton, I think you're going to be looking for a bit too much here, but you want 1.2 million. Everyone signs for cheap in Colorado, apparently. Luosterainen, how much do you want? 2.2 million. I can definitely do that. Ivan will probably re-sign you to like a 2-way contract or something. Never mind, $1 million for 1 season. Basically the same contract I've given you for the past 3 years. And then everyone else can walk, and we'll have $20 million in cap space to get a superstar free agent, because we will get one this time. So we've made it into free agency, and obviously one player is sticking out here. It's Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby, welcome to Colorado. This is a no-brainer. We need to bring you in. So I've promised Crosby a role on our top line. I'm going to move him over to the left wing. It's going to be Sidney Crosby, Marty Necas, and Nathan MacKinnon. They're going to make it work alongside each other. So that's a great pickup right there. However, we still have a lot of cap space to work with. So who else do we want to bring in? Isaac Howard, I can bring you in. This shouldn't be too bad of a deal. I'll do 4.4 million for 1 season. You should be accepting. If you don't accept that deal, that's going to kind of suck, but you know what? Not the end of the world. Bobby Brink, I can 1000% bring you in for this price. 1.1 million is an absolute steal. We're also going to pick up at least 1 defenseman here, and that's going to be Braden Schneider. 5.6 million for the next 6 makes a lot of sense, especially considering he's an 86 overall, and I think those are going to be the main signings we make here. I guess we do need to bring in 1 backup goaltender. So Cam Talbot, I don't care if you're 41 years old. Welcome to the team. So heading into the season, I'm very excited to see what the Colorado Avalanche are going to do. I think I've decided this is going to be a 10-year rebuild. At first, I was thinking only 5 seasons, but we've been absolutely flying through the seasons, so we might as well just keep on rolling. We're looking to win Stanley Cup number 2 heading into year number 5. Mackenzie Blackwood, you've always put up some incredible numbers, and now it's time for the rest of the team to step up in front of you and score some extra goals. Now, at one point, I was a little bit concerned with the Colorado Avalanche because we weren't looking that great. Then we finished first in the entire league and won 54 games. So you know what? I'm not worried in the slightest anymore. Nathan MacKinnon, 96 points. Sidney Crosby, 83 points. Marty Necas, 78 points. Even though they're all playmakers, we still saw a lot of success. And then when it comes to goaltending, you already know what Mackenzie Blackwood's going to do. He's going to pick up 11 shutouts because that is very realistic. We're taking on the St. Louis Blues in the first round once again. Last time we took this team on, we were able to take them down. I'm assuming we're going to be able to do so again. Now, of course, the St. Louis Blues are an incredible team, so I fully expect they're going to put up a fight. However, this Colorado team is just built different, so I can't imagine St. Louis taking them down. But you know what? Anything is possible. We're scoring 6 goals in game number 1. That's allowing us to win that one. However, we're dropping game number 2 because we allowed 2 goals and we're only able to score 1. Luckily, we are responding in game 3, but we're dropping game 4. Okay, St. Louis, I was expecting you to put up a fight, but not really. I was low-key just trying to gas you guys up because I really didn't think you stood a chance against Colorado, but apparently you're putting up a much bigger fight than I was expecting. Can we close this out in game number 6? It doesn't look like it. Whatever you do, don't lose in game 7. Which team am I talking about? Well, that's kind of up for debate. If St. Louis wins this, I wouldn't be mad. If Colorado wins this, I also wouldn't be mad. I really don't care who wins this game, but it looks like Colorado's going to be coming out on top unless we choke in the third period, and that's not happening. But Dalibor Dvorsky is going to score. So shout out to that stick on the ice legend. So St. Louis might have forced game 7, but at the end of the day, we still came out on top in game 7, and now we're moving on to the second round. We have the Chicago Blackhawks once again. I think this is our 3rd straight matchup against the Blackhawks. It's our 3rd or 4th straight. I've lost track at this point. All I know is Chicago always puts up a fight against us. We've won 2 of the first 3, make that 3 of the first 4. Now all we have to do is win one more game and we can move on to the conference finals, and I want to get my revenge. Give me the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to see the Vegas Golden Knights in the conference finals allow us to get our revenge, but I guess that's not happening. Instead, we have Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Leon Draisaitl is probably still on the team, so this team is definitely going to put pressure on us, and right now we're down 3-1. But you know what? We have made this comeback before, and we will do it again. Why does this team always seem to be trailing 3-1? I have no clue. And why does this team always seem to make the comeback? I have no clue. But we're moving into game 6. Like, somehow we have ended up being down 3-1 on multiple different occasions, and we've been able to fight back before. We have fought back time and time again, and I expect we're going to do that again. Connor McDavid's going to be picking up the first goal of the game, but moving into the second, we're responding with 4 unanswered goals. I think we're going to be off to game 7, and it looks like we are. Edmonton would make a late push, but it's not going to be enough. So we have ourselves game 7. We might have been down 3-1 in the series, but that means absolutely nothing. And our comeback means nothing if we don't win this game right here. Devon Toews is going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second, Colton Dach is going to be responding. So the third period is going to decide this one. Who is going to step up when it matters most? Well, it looks like it's going to be the Colorado Avalanche. Logan O'Connor, Malinsky, Nathan MacKinnon. They're picking up 3 unanswered goals, and we're in the Stanley Cup final now. We might have been down 3-1 in the series, but now we're moving on. So we've made it to the Stanley Cup final. We have one team left, and that is going to be the Florida Panthers. This is their 4th or 5th straight Stanley Cup final. I've lost track at this point, but we're not going to lose here because we're going to make another 3-1 series comeback because that is what the Colorado Avalanche do. Who cares if we're down 3-1? We will always fight back when it matters. We're moving on to game number 6. Nah, but in all seriousness, how are we fighting back once again? How are we making another 3-1 series comeback? We have done this far too many times in this video. Marty Necas is picking up the first goal. Moving into the second, it looks like this is going to be a tie game. Tolvin and Wood pick up one halfway through the second, but it doesn't matter if we don't win this game right here. And what's happening in the third? Nothing. Nothing is happening in the third, so overtime is going to settle this one. Who's going to step up when it matters most? Matthew Tkachuk is picking up the OT winner. We're falling in game 6 of the Stanley Cup final. We've lost in the Stanley Cup final far too many times, and I believe we've only lost in the Cup final once, but that is one too many times. The Florida Panthers have now made it to 4 straight Stanley Cup finals. They've won 2 and they've lost 2. But unfortunately, one of those wins came against the Colorado Avalanche, so that's going to mean we're losing in the Cup final. Arturi Lehkonen, Nathan MacKinnon, Nichushkin, you guys put up some great numbers. I can't even complain about what Brock Nelson did. He was -7 though. Not the greatest in the world, but his offensive numbers were really solid. And then when it comes to Mackenzie Blackwood, 14 wins, 1 shutout, a .918, a .267. I can't really hate on you. You did everything you could. But when the lights were the brightest, we just couldn't find the back of the net. We couldn't score those extra goals. And because of that, over these 5 years, we were only able to walk away with 1 Stanley Cup. I think we all know this team deserved more.